Lieutenant Commander Jinwoo Kim adjusted his helmet and stared out at the endless field of floating rocks ahead of him. His small reconnaissance ship moved slowly through the asteroid belt around the Kepler 442 star system. The mission was simple and boring. Scan the rocks, look for useful minerals, take pictures, send reports back to Earth Command. Jinwoo had been doing this job for 3 years now. He was good at it, but he often felt lonely out here in the empty darkness between the stars. His ship was built for one person only, no crew to talk to. Friends to share meals with. Just him and the quiet hum of the engines. The computer made a soft beeping sound. Jinwoo looked at his screens and saw something strange. Energy readings were showing up on his sensors. Big energy readings. Much bigger than anything a rock should make. What is that? Jinwoo said to himself. He pushed some buttons and made. His ship turned toward the energy source. His screens lit up with more information. The readings were moving fast, very fast. And there were multiple sources. Jinwoo felt his heart start beating faster. In 3 years of flying alone through asteroid fields, he had never seen anything like this. He reached for his communication device to call Earth Command, but stopped when he saw something that made his breath catch in his throat. Through the front window of his ship, Jinwoo could see creatures flying between the asteroids. But these were not creatures from any planet he knew about. They were dragons. Real dragons, like from the old Earth stories. His grandmother used to tell him when he was small, one dragon was much larger than the others. It had beautiful golden scales that caught the light from the distant star. But something was wrong with this dragon. It was hurt. Dark liquid was flowing from wounds on its sides and back. And Jinwoo could see that this dragon was pregnant. Its belly was swollen, and it moved in a way that showed it was carrying babies. Behind the golden dragon were 3 smaller dragons. Their scales were dark like metal, and their eyes glowed red with anger. They were chasing the pregnant dragon and shooting hot plasma beams from their mouths. Every time a plasma beam hit the golden dragon, it cried out in pain and flew faster. Woo watched in shock as the hunt continued right in front of his ship. The pregnant dragon was getting weaker. Its flight was becoming unsteady. The 3 metal dragons were getting closer and closer. This is not possible, Jinwoo whispered. Dragons are not real. They are just stories. But he could see them with his own eyes. And he could see that the beautiful golden dragon was about to die. Jinwoo had trained as a soldier before becoming a pilot. His training told him to stay hidden and watch, take pictures, record everything. Send the information back to Earth. Command and let them decide what to do. But Jinwoo also had another side to his personality. He could not watch someone being hurt and do nothing about it. Even when he was a child, he had always stood up for kids who were being picked on by bullies. Even when the bullies were bigger than him, the pregnant dragon stumbled in its flight. One of its wings was badly hurt, and it was losing too much blood. The metal dragons sensed weakness and moved in for the kill. They opened their mouths, and Jinwoo could see fire building inside their throats. No, Jinwoo said out loud. His hands moved to his weapon controls without him even thinking about it. His ship had experimental quantum disruptor weapons. They were designed for breaking apart asteroids, but Jinwoo knew they could be used against enemies too. He had never fired them at living creatures before. Jinwoo aimed his weapons at the closest metal dragon and pressed the firing button. A bright blue beam shot out from his ship and hit the metal dragon in the side. The dragon roared in pain and surprise. It spun around in space, looking for whatever had attacked it. The other 2 metal dragons also turned away from the pregnant golden dragon. All 3 of them saw Jinwoo's small ship, and their eyes filled with rage. Well, now you have done it, Jinwoo said to himself. 3 angry dragons against 1 human in a mining ship. This should be interesting. The metal dragons flew toward Jinwoo's ship with their mouths open and fire-ready. Jinwoo pushed his engines to full power and started flying away from them, as fast as he could. At the same time, he kept shooting his quantum disruptors at the dragons. His weapons were not very powerful compared to the dragons' natural abilities. but they were annoying enough to keep the dragons focused on him instead of the pregnant dragon. Jinwoo looked at his screens and saw that the golden dragon was using this time to fly toward a small moon nearby. That was smart. If she could reach the surface, she might be able to hide or find shelter. One of the metal dragons got close, enough to Jinwoo's ship to breathe fire at it. The plasma beam hit his rear engine and alarms started going off inside his ship. "Hull breach in Section 4, the computer said in its calm voice. "Engine power down to 60%. Life support systems damaged." Jinwoo's ship started shaking, and sparks flew from some of his control panels. But he kept flying and kept shooting at the dragons. Every second he could keep them busy was another second for the pregnant dragon to get away. Another plasma beam hit his ship. This time it took out his main engine completely. Jinwoo's ship started falling toward the same moon where the golden dragon had gone. "Emergency landing systems activated," the computer announced. "Brace for impact." Jinwoo strapped himself tightly into his pilot's seat and held on as his ship spun out of control through the atmosphere of the small moon. Through his cracked window he could see the golden dragon crash landing near some crystal formations on the surface below. The metal dragons were still chasing him, but they seemed to be getting tired. Or maybe they had decided that both he and the golden dragon were no longer threats since they were both crashing. Jinwoo's ship hit the ground hard. The impact threw him against his restraints and everything went black for a few seconds. When he opened his eyes again, his ship was lying on its side and smoke was coming from several broken systems, but he was alive. And when he looked out through his broken window, he could see the golden dragon about 200 meters away. She was also alive, but she looked like she was in terrible pain. Jinwoo unbuckled his restraints and grabbed his emergency survival kit. Whatever happened next, he knew he could not just sit in his broken ship and do nothing. The dragon had needed help before, and she probably needed help even more now. As he climbed out of his damaged ship, Jinwoo wondered what he was getting himself into. But he also knew he had made the right choice. Sometimes helping others was more important than following orders or staying safe. The pregnant dragon was waiting for him, and Jinwoo was going to do everything he could to help her. Jinwoo climbed out of his broken ship and felt the cold air of the moon hit his face. His breath made small clouds in the thin atmosphere. The gravity here was lighter than Earth, so each step felt strange and bouncy. He walked carefully across the rocky ground toward the golden dragon. She was lying on her side near some tall crystal formations that looked like frozen trees. Her breathing was heavy and painful. Dark golden blood was still flowing from her wounds. As Jinwoo got closer, the dragon opened one large amber eye and looked at him. The eye was bigger than Jinwoo's entire head. For a moment he felt scared. This creature could kill him easily even while hurt, but there was something in that amber eye that made Jinwoo feel calm. It was intelligent. More intelligent than any animal Jinwoo had ever seen. And there was also sadness and pain and something that looked like hope. "Hello," Jinwoo said softly. "I am here to help you." The dragon made a low rumbling sound that was almost like a purr. She lifted her great head just a little and looked at Jinwoo more carefully. Then she did something that surprised him completely. Pictures appeared in Jinwoo's mind. Not his own memories, but someone else's memories. He saw images of the dragon flying through space between beautiful worlds covered in crystal cities. He saw other dragons living in peace and harmony. And he saw a name, Hanari. That was this dragon's name. "Hanari," Jinwoo said out loud. "Your name is Hanari." The dragon's eye brightened and she made another soft rumbling sound. More pictures flowed into Jinwoo's mind. These pictures showed Hanari with a magnificent silver dragon who was clearly her mate. They were happy together flying among the stars, but then the pictures became dark and frightening. Jinwoo saw the silver dragon becoming angry. He saw other dragons turning away from Hanari. He saw her flying alone and afraid through dangerous parts of space. The last picture showed 3 metal dragons chasing her. The same 3 that Jinwoo had fought off with his ship. But now Jinwoo understood something terrible. These were not random attackers. They had been sent by her own kind to hunt her down. "They were trying to kill you," Jinwoo said. Your own people sent them after you. Hanari closed her eyes and Jinwoo felt waves of sadness coming from her mind. But then she opened her eyes again and sent him one more set of pictures. These showed her belly and what was inside: 3 eggs, 3 baby dragons waiting to be born. You are going to have babies, Jinwoo said. That is why you were running. You were trying to protect your children. Hanari tried to lift her head higher, but the effort was too much. She collapsed back onto the rocky ground, and Jinwoo could see that she was getting weaker. Jinwoo opened his survival kit and looked at what he had. Medical supplies for humans. Food packets. A small shelter that could be inflated. Power cells for energy. Water purification tablets. It was not much, but it would have to do. He set up the inflatable shelter next to Hanari's massive body. The shelter was designed for 1 human, but Jinwoo positioned it so that it would help keep the dragon warm. Then he connected his power cells to create a heating system. From his medical kit, Jinwoo took out antiseptic spray and bandages. The bandages were far too small for a dragon, but he could use them to clean the worst wounds and try to stop the bleeding. This might hurt, Jinwoo told Hanari as he began cleaning her injuries. The dragon held very still while Jinwoo worked. Sometimes she would make small sounds of pain, but she never tried to pull away or stop him. Jinwoo got the feeling that she understood he was trying to help her. It took Jinwoo several hours to clean and bandage all of Hanari's wounds. When he was finished, he was exhausted, but the dragon looked a little better. The bleeding had stopped, and some of the pain seemed to be gone from her eyes. Jinwoo opened one of his food packets and ate a small meal. Then he offered some food to Hanari, but she turned her head away. Dragons probably did not eat the same things that humans ate. What do you eat? Jinwoo asked. Hanari sent him a picture of small flying creatures that looked like a cross between birds and fish. Jinwoo looked around the barren moon surface and did not see anything like that. I will find something, he promised. That night Jinwoo slept in his small shelter next to the dragon. Every few hours he would wake up and check on her. He would put more power into the heating system and make sure her bandages were still clean. On the second day, Hanari's condition got worse. Jinwoo could tell that she was going into labor. The 3 eggs inside her were ready to be born, but she was too weak and hurt to help them. Jin-Woo had never delivered babies before, not human babies, and certainly not dragon babies. But he had learned some basic medical training in the military, and he was willing to try anything to help. For the next 6 hours, Jinwoo helped Hanari through the most difficult thing he had ever experienced. The dragon was in terrible pain, but she trusted him completely. She let him help her push and breathe and work to bring her children into the world. Finally, the first egg appeared. It was about the size of a football, and it glowed with soft golden light. Jinwoo carefully took the egg and wrapped it in his spare blanket to keep it warm. The second egg came an hour later. This one was slightly smaller and had silver streaks. Mixed with the gold, Jinwoo wrapped it up just as carefully as the first one. The third egg was the hardest. Hanari was getting very weak, and Jinwoo was afraid she might die before the baby was born. But she found strength somewhere deep inside herself and pushed one more time. The third egg was the smallest, but it glowed the brightest. Jinwoo wrapped all 3 eggs in blankets and put them close to the heating system. Then he turned back to check on Hanari. The great dragon was lying very still. Her breathing was shallow and her amber eyes were dim. Jinwoo knew that giving birth had used up the last of her strength. You did it, Jinwoo told her. Your children are safe. Hanari lifted one massive claw and gently placed it over Jinwoo's hand. When she touched him, Jinwoo's mind was flooded with images and feelings and memories. He saw her whole life in the span of a few seconds. Her childhood among the crystal cities. Her first flight among the stars. Meeting her mate, the silver dragon, whose name was Tae-jin. Their happiness together before everything went wrong, but most importantly, he saw her final wish. She wanted Jinwoo to protect her children, to keep them safe until they could protect themselves, to love them and teach them and help them grow strong. I promise, Jinwoo whispered. Hanari's amber eyes closed for the last time. Her breathing stopped and her great body became still. the magnificent golden dragon who had trusted a human stranger to help her bring her children safely into the world was gone. Jinwoo sat beside her for a long time and cried. He had only known this dragon for 2 days, but he felt like he had lost a dear friend. She had been brave and kind and had fought so hard to save her babies. Now those babies were his responsibility. 3 dragon eggs glowing softly in their blankets. 3 lives that depended on him completely. Jinwoo looked up at the stars and wondered what he was going to do next. Jinwoo spent the next 3 months living on the cold moon with 3 dragon eggs as his only companions. He built a better shelter using parts from his crashed ship. He created an incubation system that kept the eggs at the perfect temperature. And every day he talked to them. "Good morning, little ones," Jinwoo would say each day as he checked on the eggs. "Today I'm going to tell you about Earth. That is where I come from." Jinwoo told the eggs stories about blue oceans and green forests. He described cities full of people and animals that lived on his home planet. He played music from his personal files and sang songs that his grandmother had taught him when he was small. The eggs seemed to respond to his voice. They would glow brighter when he talked to them. Sometimes they would even pulse gently as if the babies inside were moving around. Jin-Woo also sent out distress signals every day, hoping that someone would find him. His ship's communication system was damaged, but he managed to fix it enough to send short messages into space. He did not know if anyone was receiving his calls for help. To survive on the barren moon, Jinwoo had to become very creative. He found small creatures living in caves under the crystal formations. They looked like a cross between crabs and lizards. Jinwoo learned how to catch them and cook them for food. He also discovered that some of the crystals could be melted down to make pure water. It did not taste very good, but it was safe to drink. Jinwoo rationed his supplies carefully and hoped his rescue would come before he ran out of everything. The hardest part was the loneliness. Jinwoo had been alone in space before, but this was different. He was responsible for 3 unborn lives, and he had no idea what he was doing. Sometimes at night he would worry that the eggs were too cold or too warm. Sometimes he worried that he was not taking care of them properly, but then he would remember the promise he had made to Hanari and he would keep going. On the 91st day after Hanari's death, Jinwoo woke up to a strange sound. It was a soft tapping noise like someone knocking on a door. He rushed over to the incubation area and saw that one of the eggs was moving. The largest egg, which had been the first one born, was developing cracks along its surface. The tapping sound was coming from inside as the baby dragon tried to break free. "Come on, little one," Jinwoo said excitedly. "You can do it." After an hour of tapping and pushing, a small hole appeared in the shell. Jinwoo could see something moving inside. Then suddenly a tiny dragon head poked out of the hole. The baby dragon was about the size of a house cat. Its scales were golden like its mother's, but they had silver edges that caught the light. It had large, bright eyes that looked around curiously at the world. The baby dragon saw Jinwoo and made a small chirping sound. Then it struggled the rest of the way out of its shell and tumbled onto the soft blankets Jinwoo had prepared. "Hello?" "Beautiful," Jinwoo said softly. "I am Jinwoo. I have been waiting for you." The baby dragon looked up at Jinwoo and chirped again. Then it did something amazing. It walked over to Jinwoo on unsteady legs and rubbed against his hand like a friendly cat. Jinwoo felt tears in his eyes. This tiny creature was not afraid of him at all. It seemed to know that he was someone safe and caring. Within the next few hours, the other 2 eggs also hatched. The second baby was slightly smaller and had more silver in its scales. The third baby was the smallest but had the brightest golden color. Jinwoo decided to give them names. The first baby, which seemed to be female, he called So Young. The second baby, which was also female, he named Miran. The smallest baby, which appeared to be male, he called Hyunsu. All 3 baby dragons seemed to think that Jinwoo was their parent. They followed him everywhere he went. When he sat down, they would climb onto his lap and curl up to sleep. When he talked, they would listen carefully and chirp back as if they were trying to talk to him. Jin-Woo quickly learned that taking care of baby dragons was not easy. They were hungry all the time and they grew very fast. Within a week they had doubled in size. Within a month they were as big as medium dogs. The babies also needed to learn how to fly. Jinwoo could not fly himself, but he did his best to teach them. He would hold them up high and let them practice flapping their wings. He would encourage them to jump from rock to build their strength. So Young was the first to figure out flying. One day she simply spread her wings and took off into the air. She flew in circles around Jinwoo, chirping happily while he cheered for her. Miran and Hyunsu learned to fly a few days later. Soon, all three baby dragons were zooming around the moon, playing games and exploring places that Jinwoo could not reach, but they always came back to him. No matter how far they flew or how much fun they were having, the three dragons always returned to Jinwoo when he called them. Jinwoo also taught them how to hunt. The crab lizard creatures that lived in the caves were perfect practice for young dragons. Jinwoo would show them how to be patient and quiet. He would demonstrate how to move quickly when the time was right. The dragons learned fast, and soon they were catching their own food. This made Jinwoo very proud. His children were becoming strong and independent. During the long evenings, Jinwoo would tell the young dragons stories about their mother. He shared the memories that Hanari had given him. He told them about the crystal cities and the other dragons who lived among the stars. The three babies would listen with wide eyes. Sometimes Jinwoo thought he saw sadness in their expressions when he talked about their mother, but mostly they seemed happy to learn about where they came from. After 6 months of living together, Jinwoo received an answer to his distress signals. A rescue ship from Earth Command was coming to pick him up. Jinwoo should have been happy, but instead he felt worried and scared. What would happen to So Young, Mira, and Hyunsu when the rescue ship arrived? Would the humans try to take the baby dragons away from him? Would they want to study them or use them as weapons? Would they understand that these were not just animals, but intelligent beings who deserved to be treated with respect? Jinwoo made a decision that would change everything. Instead of waiting for the Earth rescue ship, he would contact the dragon's homeworld directly. He would try to find Taejin, the silver dragon, who was the father of his 3 children, using his ship's communication system. Jinwoo sent a message toward the star system where Hanari's memories had shown the dragon cities. The message was simple. I am Jinwoo Kim, a human from Earth. I have been caring for the children of Hanari for 6 months. They are healthy and safe. I wish to return them to their people with honor and respect. Please respond if you receive this message. Jinwoo sent the message and waited. He did not know if it would reach anyone. He did not know if the dragons would want to help him or hurt him. All he knew was that So Young, Miran, and Hyunsu deserved to know their real family. 3 days later, Jinwoo received a response. The message was filled with such powerful emotion that it made Jinwoo fall to his knees. The silver dragon, Taejin, was coming, and he was bringing a fleet of dragon warriors with him. Jinwoo looked at his 3 children playing happily near the crystal formations and wondered what he had done. Had he just saved them, or had he put them in terrible danger? Only time would tell. 5 days after Jinwoo sent his message to the dragon homeworld, the sky above the small moon began to change. Dark shapes appeared among the stars, growing larger and larger as they approached. Jinwoo stood outside his shelter watching the ships come closer. So Young, Miran, and Hyunsu stood beside him, chirping nervously. They could sense that something important was happening, but they did not understand what it meant. Those are your people, Jinwoo told the 3 young dragons. Your real family is coming to see you. The ships were unlike anything Jinwoo had ever seen. They looked like they were grown rather than built. Their surfaces were smooth and curved like dragon scales, and they moved through space with the grace of living creatures. As the fleet got closer, Jinwoo could see that the largest ship was magnificent. It was silver and blue, and it seemed to glow with its own inner light. This had to be the ship carrying Taejin, the father of his 3 children. The ships landed on the moon surface, about 1 kilometer away from Jinwoo's shelter. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then figures began emerging from the vessels. Jinwoo had expected to see dragons, but these beings looked mostly human. They walked on two legs and had human-like faces and bodies, but their skin had a scaled texture and their eyes glowed with inner fire. Some had small wings folded against their backs, while others had dragon-like tails. Shapeshifters, Jinwoo whispered to himself. They can change between human and dragon forms? One figure walked ahead of the others toward Jinwoo's shelter. This being was taller than the rest and moved with obvious authority. As he got closer, Jinwoo could see that his skin had a silver, metallic shine and his eyes burned with blue-white fire. This had to be Tae-Jin. When the silver figure was about 50 meters away, he stopped walking and began to change. His human form grew larger and larger. Wings burst from his back. His neck stretched long and his face became dragon-like. Within seconds, a massive silver dragon stood before Jin-Woo. Tae-Jin was even larger than Hanari had been. His scales reflected the light from the distant star like mirrors. His eyes were the blue-white color of the hottest flames. When he breathed, small wisps of frost came from his nostrils, the three young dragons behind. Jinwoo began chirping excitedly. They could sense that this magnificent creature was related to them. Somehow, Tae-Jin looked at Jinwoo with those burning eyes, and Jinwoo felt the dragon's mind touch his own. But instead of the gentle communication he had shared with Hanari, this mental contact was filled with pain and rage and grief. Through the telepathic link, Jinwoo experienced Tae-Jin's memories and emotions. He saw how much the silver dragon had loved Hanari. He felt the terrible guilt that Tae-Jin carried because he had failed to protect his mate. Jinwoo also saw the truth about what had happened 6 months ago. The three metal dragons that had been chasing Hanari were not random attackers. They had been sent by Tae-Jin himself to bring her home safely, but Hanari had been frightened and confused. She had thought her own people were trying to hurt her, so she had run away from the very dragons who were trying to help her. Jinwoo's intervention had prevented her from reaching safety, and medical care that might have saved her life, the knowledge, hit Jinwoo like a physical blow. His heroic rescue had actually made things worse. He had caused the death of the dragon he was trying to save. Tae-Jin saw these realizations forming in Jinwoo's mind, and his rage grew even stronger. The silver dragon opened his mouth and Jinwoo could see fire building in his throat. For a moment, Jinwoo was certain that Tae-Jin was going to kill him, but then something happened that changed everything. So young Miren and Hyunsu ran past Jinwoo toward their father. They had no fear at all. They chirped and called out in the dragon language as they rushed to greet Tae-Jin. The three young dragons reached their father and began rubbing against his massive legs like excited puppies. They looked up at him with pure joy and love in their eyes. "Papa Jinwoo told us about you." So Young said in the dragon language that Jinwoo could now understand through his mental link with Tae-Jin. "He said you are our real father." He said, "You are brave and strong." "Papa Jinwoo takes good care of us," Miran added. "He teaches us to fly and hunt. He tells us stories every night. He sings to us when we are scared." "We love Papa Jinwoo very much," little Hyunsu chirped. "But we are happy to meet you too. Are you going to live with us now?" The fire in Tae-Jin's throat died away. The rage in his eyes was replaced by shock, and then overwhelming grief. Jinwoo felt the silver dragon's heart breaking as he looked down at his children. These three beautiful young dragons were healthy and happy and full of love. They spoke about the human who had raised them with such joy and affection. They called Jinwoo their papa and clearly saw him as their real parent. Tae-Jin had come here expecting to find his children being held prisoner by a human enemy. Instead, he found them being loved and cared for by someone who had given up everything to keep them safe. The silver dragon lowered his great head and gently nuzzled each of his children. Tears that looked like liquid silver fell from his eyes onto the rocky ground. Through their mental link, Jinwoo felt every emotion that Tae-Jin was experiencing. The grief over losing Hanari, the guilt over failing to save her, the amazement at seeing his children alive and well, and something else that surprised Jinwoo completely. Gratitude. Despite everything that had happened, Taejin was grateful to Jinwoo for caring for his children. The silver dragon could see that Jinwoo had loved So Young Miran and Hyunsu as if they were his own offspring. He had sacrificed his comfort, his safety, and his future to keep them alive. Taejin slowly changed back to his human-like form. He walked over to Jinwoo and stood before him. The Dragon Lord was much taller than Jinwoo, and his silver skin seemed to glow with power. "Human," Taejin said in a voice like distant thunder. "You have given my children something I could not give them. You have given them love without conditions. You have been the father I failed to be." "I only did what anyone would do," Jinwoo replied quietly. "No," Taejin said firmly. "What you did was extraordinary. You took responsibility for lives that were not your own. You gave up your freedom to keep my children safe. You loved them when their own people had abandoned them." Taejin knelt down on one knee in front of Jinwoo. The other dragon warriors, who had been watching from a distance, gasped in shock. A dragon lord kneeling to a human was something that had never happened before. "Jinwoo of Earth," Taejin said in a ceremonial voice, "I, Taejin, Lord of the Silver Flame, offer you the bond of life debt. My existence becomes tied to yours. Your life becomes more precious to me than my own. When you die, I will follow you into death. This I swear by the ancient laws of my people." "Wait," Jinwoo said quickly. "You do not need to do that. I do not want you to sacrifice yourself for me." "It is already done," Taejin replied. "The words have been spoken. The bond is formed. From this moment forward, I am bound to serve and protect you for as long as you live." A strange warm feeling spread through Jinwoo's body. He could sense Taejin's presence in his mind like a constant gentle touch. The life-debt bond was real, and it was permanent. Jinwoo looked at the three young dragons who were watching the ceremony with wide eyes. They did not fully understand what was happening, but they seemed pleased that their two fathers were no longer angry with each other. "What happens now?" Jinwoo asked. "Now," Taejin said as he stood up, "we go home. All of us together. You are part of our family now, Jinwoo of Earth. My children need both of their fathers." Jinwoo felt a mixture of relief and worry. He was glad that he would not be separated from So Young Miran and Hyunsu. But he also wondered what kind of life awaited him in the dragon homeworld. As they prepared to leave the small moon, Jinwoo took one last look at the place where Hanari had died. He whispered a quiet thank you to the golden dragon, who had trusted him with her most precious gift. The future was uncertain, but Jinwoo knew one thing for sure. No matter what challenges lay ahead, he would face them with his family by his side. The journey to the dragon homeworld took 3 days. Jinwoo traveled on Taejin's personal ship along with So Young Miran and Hyunsu. The ship was beautiful inside with curved walls that looked like they were made from pearl and crystal. During the trip, Jinwoo learned more about dragon society. Taejin explained that dragons were an ancient race that had been traveling between the stars for thousands of years. They lived in harmony with nature and built their cities from living crystal that grew like plants. The three young dragons were excited to see their ancestral home. They spent hours looking out the ship's windows at the stars and asking Jinwoo questions about what they would find when they arrived. "Will there be other young dragons like us?" So Young asked. "Will they want to be our friends?" Miran wondered. "Will they think we are strange because we lived with a human?" Little Hyunsu worried. Jinwoo did his best to answer their questions, but he was worried about the same things. How would the other dragons react to him? Would they accept a human living among them? Would they treat his children differently because they had been raised by someone from another species? On the 3rd day, they reached the dragon homeworld. Jinwoo pressed his face against the window and gasped at what he saw. The planet was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. It had purple oceans and silver mountains that reached up into pink clouds. Cities made of living crystal grew like forests across the continents. The crystals were all different colors and they glowed with soft light. "Welcome to Kalara," Taejin said proudly. "The heart of dragon civilization." As their ship descended toward the largest crystal city, Jinwoo could see thousands of dragons flying through the air. Some were in their natural dragon forms, while others had taken human-like shapes. They moved together in graceful patterns. Like schools of fish or flocks of birds, the ship landed in a circular area at the center of the crystal city. Taejin led Jinwoo and the three young dragons out onto a platform where hundreds of dragons had gathered to meet them. Jinwoo felt nervous as he looked at all the faces staring at him. These beings were clearly very old and wise. Their eyes held the knowledge of centuries. Some looked curious about him, while others seemed suspicious or worried. An elderly dragon with golden scales and white hair stepped forward. She was in human form, but Jinwoo could sense the great power that flowed through her. "I am Elder Yunei," she said in a voice like silver bells. "Welcome to our world, Jinwoo of Earth. We have heard much about you." "Thank you for allowing me to come here," Jinwoo replied politely. Elder Yunei smiled, but Jinwoo noticed that the smile did not reach her eyes. "We must speak privately," she said. "There are things you need to know about the children you have been caring for." Taejin stepped closer to Jinwoo. "Whatever you need to tell him, you can say in front of me," he said firmly. "Very well, Elder," Yunei agreed. "But what I am about to tell you will be difficult to hear." She gestured for everyone to sit down on cushions that had been arranged in a circle. So-young Mir, Ren, and Hyunsu curled up next to Jinwoo while Taejin sat protectively. Nearby, "Jinwoo," Elder Yunei began, "what do you know about the circumstances of Hanari's death?" "I know that she was being chased by 3 metal dragons," Jinwoo said. "I know that her own people had turned against her. I know that I tried to help her, but she died anyway." Elder Yunei shook her head sadly. "I'm afraid that what you know is not the complete truth. The story is much more complicated and much more tragic than you realize." She waved her hand and images appeared in the air above them. The images showed Hanari flying through space, but she looked different. Her scales were dull and she moved awkwardly as if she was sick. Hanari was not being executed for treason, Elder Yunei explained. She was being brought to a medical facility for emergency treatment. The 3 dragons chasing her were not hunters, they were doctors. Jinwoo felt his heart skip a beat. "What do you mean?" "Hanari was carrying hybrid children," Elder Yunei continued. "Dragon-human hybrids. This is extremely rare and very dangerous. Without proper medical care, both the mother and the babies usually die during birth." The images in the air changed to show a crystal building filled with advanced medical equipment. Jinwoo could see dragons and humans working together to help other hybrid mothers. "There is a special medical station in the outer rim of our territory," Elder Yunei said. "It was built specifically to help mothers carrying hybrid children. Hanari was trying to reach this station when you encountered her, but she was running away from the other dragons," Jinwoo protested. "She was afraid of them." "Yes," Elder Yunei agreed, "because she was confused and in pain. Hybrid pregnancies affect the mother's mind as well as her body. Hanari was not thinking clearly. She thought the medical team was trying to hurt her, so she ran away from the help she desperately needed." Jinwoo felt sick to his stomach. "Are you saying that I prevented her from getting medical treatment?" "You could not have known," Taejin said quickly. "You saw what looked like a hunt and you tried to help, but the result was the same, Elder," Yunei said gently. "Your intervention prevented Hanari from reaching the medical station. If she had received proper care, she would probably still be alive today." Jinwoo buried his face in his hands. Everything he thought he knew about that day was wrong. He had not been a hero saving an innocent dragon. He had been an obstacle preventing a sick mother from getting the help she needed. "There is more," Elder Yunei said quietly. Jinwoo looked up at her with tears in his eyes. "More. The children you have been raising are slowly dying." The words hit Jinwoo like a physical blow. He looked down at So-young Miran and Hyunsu, who were listening to this conversation with growing confusion and fear. "What do you mean dying?" Jinwoo whispered. "Hybrid children need special medical treatments to survive," Elder Yunei explained. "Without these treatments, their bodies cannot properly process the mixed genetics. They appear healthy now, but their organs will begin failing within the next few months. How long do they have? Taejin asked. His voice was barely controlled. Perhaps a year, Elder Yane said. Maybe less. Jinwoo felt the world spinning around him. The 3 children he had loved and raised and protected were going to die because of something he had done. His heroic rescue had not only killed their mother, but doomed them as well. Can anything be done? Jinwoo asked desperately. There are treatments, Elder Yane said, but they are experimental and dangerous, and they would require a significant sacrifice from someone who loves the children. What kind of sacrifice? Taejin demanded. The treatments require life energy from a bonded parent, Elder Yane explained. Someone would need to share their life force with the children. This would stabilize their genetics and allow them to live normal lifespans. I will do it, both Jinwoo and Taejin said at the same time. Elder Yane shook her head. Only one person can provide the life energy, and whoever does this will give up most of their own lifespan. They would have perhaps a few months to live instead of decades. Jinwoo did not hesitate. I will do it. Jinwoo, no, Taejin said. Firmly? If you die then, I die too because of the life debt bond. The children would lose both of their fathers. Then we break the bond, Jinwoo said. The bond cannot be broken, Elder Yane informed them. It is permanent until death. Jinwoo looked down at So-young Miran and Hyun-soo. The 3 young dragons were staring up at him with wide, frightened eyes. They did not fully understand what was being discussed, but they knew it was serious. We will find another way, Taejin said desperately, but Elder Yane was already shaking her head. There is no other way. The life energy transfer is the only treatment that can save them. Jinwoo pulled the 3 young dragons close to him and held them tight. These beautiful, innocent children were going to die because of his mistake. The least he could do was give his life to save theirs, even if it meant that Taejin would die with him, even if it meant leaving the children orphaned again, even if it meant admitting that sometimes trying to be a hero only made things worse. Jin-Woo closed his eyes and tried to figure out how to tell 3 young dragons that they're human. Papa was going to have to leave them forever. Jinwoo spent the next 3 days thinking about what Elder Yane had told him. He watched So-young Miran and Hyun-soo playing happily in the crystal gardens of the Dragon City. They had no idea that they were slowly dying or that they're human. Papa was planning to give his life to save them. Taejin tried everything he could think of to change Jinwoo's mind. He brought other dragon healers to examine the children. He searched ancient texts for alternative treatments. He even offered to break the life debt bond by ending his own life first. If I die, then you will be free to save our children without killing yourself, Taejin argued. No, Jinwoo said firmly. So-young Miran and Hyun-soo need you. You are their real father. You can teach them about dragon culture and history. You can help them understand their heritage. That they need you too, Taejin replied with pain in his voice. You are the one who raised them. You are the one they call Papa. Jinwoo smiled sadly. They will remember me. That is enough. On the 4th day, Jinwoo made his final decision. He went to Elder Yane and told her he was ready to undergo the life energy transfer procedure. Are you certain? She asked. Once we begin the process, there is no turning back. I am certain, Jinwoo replied. When can we start? Tomorrow morning, Elder Yane said. But first you should spend time with your children. Tell them what is going to happen. That evening, Jinwoo took So-young Miran and Hyun-soo to their favorite spot in the crystal gardens. It was a small clearing surrounded by singing crystals that made beautiful music when the wind blew through them. I need to tell you something. Important, Jinwoo said as the 3 young dragons settled down beside him. Are we going home to the moon? So-young asked hopefully. No, little one, Jinwoo said gently. This is your home now. This is where you belong. But you will stay with us, right? Miran said with worry in her voice. Jin-Woo felt his heart breaking. I am going to help you in a very special way tomorrow. The dragon healers are going to make you stronger and healthier. But in order to do that, I have to give you some of my life energy. What does that mean? Little Hyun-soo asked. It means that I will become part of you, Jinwoo explained. My love and my strength will be inside you forever. You will be able to feel me with you even when you cannot see me. The three young dragons looked confused and frightened. They could sense that something serious was happening, but they did not understand what. Will it hurt? So Young asked. No, Jinwoo assured her. It will not hurt at all. You will just feel very warm and loved. Will you still be our papa afterward? Miran wanted to know. I will always be your papa, Jinwoo promised. Nothing can ever change that. Taijin joined them in the crystal garden. He had been crying and his silver scales were dull with grief. But he tried to be strong for the children. Your human papa is doing something very brave tomorrow, Taijin told them. He is going to make sure that you live long and happy lives. But what about you, Papa Taijin? Hyunsu asked. Will you stay with us? Taijin and Jinwoo exchanged a look. They had decided not to tell the children about the life-debt bond. There was no reason to make them feel guilty about losing both fathers. I will stay as long as I can, Taijin said honestly. That night Jinwoo did not sleep. Instead, he sat by the window watching the three young dragons rest peacefully. He memorized everything about them. The way So Young curled her tail around her body when she slept. The soft snoring sounds that Marin made. The way little Hyunsu always hugged his favorite crystal toy. Jin-Woo thought about the past year. And all the moments they had shared together. Teaching them to fly, watching them catch their first prey. Listening to their excited chatter about everything they discovered. These memories were more precious to him than anything else in the universe. The next morning came too quickly. Jinwoo woke the children gently and helped them get ready for the day. They seemed to sense that something important was happening. Because they stayed close to him and did not run around like they usually did, Elder Yunei came to escort them to the healing chamber. The room was filled with glowing crystals and strange medical equipment that hummed with energy. In the center was a platform where Jinwoo would lie during the procedure. The process will take several hours, Elder Yunei explained. Jinwoo will fall into a deep sleep while his life energy flows into the children. When it is finished, the children will be fully healed, but Jinwoo will be very weak. How weak? Taijin asked, though he already knew the answer. He will have perhaps a few days? Elder Yunei said quietly. So Young, Miran, and Hyunsu finally understood what was really happening. Their human papa was going to die to save them. No, So Young cried. We do not want you to do this. Please do not leave us, Miran begged. We would rather be sick, little Hansu sobbed. Jinwoo knelt down and hugged all three of them at once. Listen to me, my beautiful children. The most important thing in the world to me is knowing that you will be safe and healthy and happy. That is what parents do. We take care of our children no matter what. But we love you, So Young said through her tears. And I love you more than all the stars in the sky, Jinwoo replied. That love will never go away. Even when you cannot see me, you will always have my love inside your hearts. Jinwoo lay down on the platform and closed his eyes. The healing crystals began to glow brighter, and he felt warmth spreading through his body. He could sense his life energy flowing out of him and into the three young dragons. As the procedure continued, Jinwoo felt himself getting weaker, but he also felt something wonderful. He could feel his love and his memories becoming part of So Young, Miran, and Hyunsu. They would carry pieces of him with them for the rest of their lives. The process took 6 hours. When it was finished, the three young dragons were glowing with health and vitality. Their scales were brighter, their eyes were clearer, and they moved with new strength and energy. But Jinwoo could barely keep his eyes open. His breathing was shallow and his skin was pale. The life energy transfer had worked, but it had taken almost everything from him. Taijin sat beside Jinwoo and held his hand. The silver dragon was also becoming weaker as the life-debt bond connected their fates. Thank you, Taijin whispered. Thank you for saving my children. Thank you for letting me be their father, Jinwoo replied softly. Over the next 3 days, Jinwoo spent every waking moment with his family. He told the children more stories about Earth. He sang them the songs his grandmother had taught him. He watched them play and learn and grow stronger each day. On the third night, Jinwoo fell asleep peacefully with So-young Miran and Hyunsu curled up beside him. Taejin sat nearby, keeping watch over all of them. As the sun rose on the fourth day, Jinwoo took his last breath. His face was calm and happy. A few minutes later, Taejin followed him into death. Just as the life-debt bond demanded, the three young dragons woke to find both of their fathers gone. But they were not alone. The entire dragon community had come to support them and help them through their grief. Elder Yunei took care of So-young Miran and Hyunsu as they grew up. She taught them about their unique heritage as the first dragon-human hybrids. She helped them understand the sacrifice that both of their fathers had made for them. The children grew up to become bridges between the human and dragon civilizations. They used their mixed heritage to help the two species understand each other better. They became diplomats and teachers and healers who worked to prevent the kind of misunderstandings that had led to their mother's death when they were adults. So-young Mir and Hyunsu returned to the small moon where their story had begun. They built a beautiful memorial there for Jinwoo, the human who had saved a pregnant dragon, and Taejin, the dragon who had honored that sacrifice. Every year on the anniversary of their father's deaths, the three siblings would visit the memorial. They would tell stories about the love and courage that had brought two very different species together. They would remember the human male who had saved their mother in his own imperfect way and the dragon lord who had chosen forgiveness over revenge, and they would carry forward the legacy of sacrifice and love that had made their very existence possible. The memorial bore a simple inscription in both human and dragon languages. Here began the friendship between two worlds. Here love conquered fear. Here sacrifice became hope. The story of Jinwoo and Taejin became legend among both humans and dragons. It was told to children of both species as an example of how love and sacrifice could overcome even the greatest tragedies. And in the crystal cities of the dragon homeworld, three hybrid children grew up knowing that they had been loved enough to die for by two fathers who had given everything to save them.